Speak a good word or remain silent. Speak a good word or remain silent. Speak a good word or remain silent.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala khatamin nabiyyin, amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah, wa ala alika wa sahabika ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah, wa ala alika wa sahabika ya Nurallah. A holy saying of the last Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The person closest to me on the day of judgment will be the one who would have recited salat upon me abundantly in the world. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear viewers, FGN channel has brought to you once again a unique program, a program which is professional in nature, a program which is certainly related with the practical life of every one of us. Especially this program is a boon for the youth. It will be very helpful for the students of professional studies like engineering, medical science, management institutions and general students as well, general students of schools, colleges, and it is going to be a great help to teachers, lecturers, professors, doctors, engineers, traders, merchants and common people too at large. Friends, we are human beings. We don't live in isolation. Rather, we live with other human beings. We use language to stay connected. It means we communicate with each other. Communication is an art. Yes, really, it is a great art which is to be learnt formally. But unfortunately, people do not know how to communicate properly, how to convey the message effectively. This world is a competitive world, where there is a tough competition in every walk of life. The one who is impressive, the one who is effective, only that person will be able to survive in the tough race of this competition. So, if you want to sustain in this race of tough competition, you will have to learn communication skills. You will have to learn this art effectively. Communication skills. This topic has become the jewel of the crown of people in present era. It has evolved as a complete professional doctrine. Do you know, communication skills, this topic has become so important in our life that people are spending thousands of rupees and getting professional training on communication skills. Friends, when we go in public, when we meet people or when we go in front of anyone, the first thing which makes an advertisement of our existence, the first thing which advertises our personality is our communication, the way we communicate with people. Keeping this entire scenario in view, FGN channel has brought a complete professional gift package with the help of a PowerPoint presentation just for you. This program is based on communication skills. It will definitely train you how to be a better communicator, and this is only the title of our program. What? How to be a better communicator. Friends, consider an example. Suppose I want to build a building of 5 floors. Directly I cannot go for the second floor or the third floor or at the top of the building. First of all, I will have to dig the ditches. I will have to erect the pillars. I will have to fill the ditches with sand, cement, stone and iron grills, which will be called as the base of the building, and the base must be very strong. Then only I can go for the first floor, then the second floor, then the third floor, and at the top of the building finally. In the same way, before learning the tips or the principles of becoming a better communicator, we will have to learn what is communication, what are the objectives of communication, what are the elements of communication, what are the types of communication, what are the barriers to communication, how to remove these barriers from our communication, and what are the tips of becoming a better communicator. Let's start the program with the meaning of communication first. What is communication? Communication is a two-way street. It is not just about conveying your message to others, but it is also related with listening to the perspective of others, listening to others, understanding them. As it is said, communication is a two-way process, two-way street. Now, communication means to share. What to share? To share ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions. In simple words, only remember this meaning: communication is an interchange of thoughts, feelings, emotions and ideas. That is communication. Next, we will see what are the objectives of communication. The first objective of communication is information. We pass information of people, of events, about the surrounding, market, business and different situation. The second objective of communication is advice. We give suggestions or opinions to someone. That is the next objective of communication. The third objective of communication is orders and instructions. We give commands and instructions. It happens between youngers and elders, subordinates and superiors. Next purpose of communication is persuasion. We persuade the people and try to change their attitude, their behavior. So that is also one of the objectives of communication. Next objective is motivation. Motivation is the inner state which gives you a reason to do something, to encourage someone to do something. That is motivation. Next objective of communication is education and training. When we want to impart education or when we give training, that time also we are communicating with people. Next objective of communication is warning. It is a forceful type of communication. When someone violates the rules or regulations, this type of communication comes into existence. Other purposes of communication, it includes so many things. For example, when we congratulate people, when we express our wish on any occasion, when we use negative words, when we threaten someone, that time also we are communicating with someone. So these are the purposes of communication. Now next point is the communication process. There are basic 7 elements of communication process. Number 1, sender. Number 2, medium and channel. Number 3, encoding. Number 4, message. Number 5, decoding. Number 6, receiver. And last element of communication process is feedback. Now we will try to know each of them with the help of this diagram. This is called communication process. Sender. Who is a sender? The person who sends the message. Now, message means an idea which sender sends. Encoding. When sender converts his thought into a meaningful sentence, that process is called encoding. After converting his thought into a meaningful sentence, that sentence becomes a message. Then that message is understood by the receiver. Decoding means understanding that message, and receiver is the person who receives the message. After receiving message, he gives feedback. Feedback means response given by the receiver. That is called feedback. So these are the basic elements of communication process. This is called communication cycle, which we will show in next diagram. Now we will see all these elements being presented in a diagram called communication cycle. See, this is a cyclic procedure. Sender, he encodes, means converts thought into message. Message is received by receiver. Receiver, after receiving message, gives feedback, and in this way, in a cyclic procedure, communication takes place. Now next point is types of communication. Friends, we have different types of food, we have different types of clothing, we have different types of houses. In the same way, communication is also of various types. Here we have mentioned a few basic types of communication. For example, verbal communication, non-verbal communication, formal communication, informal communication, vertical communication, horizontal communication, diagonal communication, visual communication, sign language communication, over communication, under communication, and anonymous communication. In next slide, we will try to learn every type of communication in detail. Now see, verbal communication. What do you mean by verbal communication? Verbal communication is the communication based on words. When communication is based on words, it is called verbal communication. Verbal communication has two subtypes. See this diagram. Verbal communication has two subtypes. One is oral communication and the second one is written communication. As its name shows, oral communications means with the help of spoken words, and written communication means communication with the help of writing. Now for example, I am talking to you. This is oral communication. And suppose I have taken a paper in my hand and I am reading this. So this is written communication. So these two, oral and written, are the subtypes of verbal communication, and verbal communication means communication based on words. Next type of communication is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication means communication without words. Non-verbal communication has 6 basic aspects, technical aspects, but they are not difficult. We will make it simple for you. Now see, what are the 6 basic aspects of non-verbal communication? Kinesics, oculesics, proxemics, chronemics, haptics, vocalics. These 6 are collectively called as non-verbal communication. Now what are these? We will try to learn in next slide. See, these are 6 basic aspects of non-verbal communication which we have presented in this diagram. Now we will try to know in detail what is the meaning of each of these aspects. First we will see kinesics. What is kinesics? See in the next slide. Kinesics is the study of body movements, facial expressions, hand movements. For example, nodding head. Now see here. It means yes. It means no. Body movement means I want water. It means I am saying no. So this is the study of body movements and called kinesics. Next slide, we have 𝐒𝐼𝐶. Now, what is 𝐒𝐼𝐶? It is a subcategory of kinesics, study of eye movements. With the help of our eyes, we can communicate. Now, look at my eyes. Suppose if I glare like this, it means I am in anger. Suppose if I am doing like this, it means I am confused. So, eye movements also give messages. So, this 𝐒𝐼𝐶 is a subcategory of kinesics. Now, we will see the third aspect of non-verbal communication. What is that? Proxemics. In simple words, proxemics means study of space. For example, if someone sits or stands very close to you, that indicates something else. And if someone stands or sits far away from you, that indicates something else. Closeness indicates intimacy, and if someone is far away, it means there is some formal relationship. So, proxemics is the study of distance. Next aspect of non-verbal communication is chronemics. Chronemics is the study of time, how people utilize their time. For example, someone comes early, someone comes late, someone comes on time. So, all these things show chronemics, means study of time and how people use time in their daily life. So, their utilization of time gives message. So, that is a non-verbal aspect of communication. Next slide, we have haptics. Haptics means it is also called as tactile. Haptics means the study of touch. For example, I did not speak anything, just I patted the shoulder of my student. He understood my message. He understood that I am supporting him, I am encouraging him, I am motivating him. Why? Because I just patted. Or suppose my friend is standing here and I held his arm like this. So, it shows friendliness. So, that is the study of touch, means in technical words it is called as haptics. It also conveys the message. Next aspect of non-verbal communication is vocalics. It is called paralinguistics or paralanguage. It is the study of speech sounds. For example, I am not speaking anything, just I am producing sounds. So, these sounds, this part of my throat, the sounds coming out of my throat, they are conveying the messages. For example, it means no. So, these sounds. Then again we have articulation, pronunciation, accent, regional and cultural differences. All these things come under vocalics. Then rising tone, falling tone, all these things are included in vocalics. So, these are the 6 basic elements of non-verbal communication. Now, we have next type of communication. 2 things we have learned: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication having 2 subtypes: oral communication and written communication, and non-verbal communication having 6 aspects. Now, third type of communication is formal communication. As its name shows, formal communication takes place in formal situation where rules and regulations are followed. It follows some established channels and protocols. It has got its own procedure, that is procedure of rules and regulations, that is called formal communication. For example, principal is talking to teacher, that is formal communication. Next type of communication is informal communication or grapevine communication. Now try to understand this word, grapevine. What is grapevine? Grapevine is a climbing plant which turns and twists, and it goes in any direction. In the same way, grapevine communication means informal communication, means communication which goes in any direction, having no rules. It is based on rumors, based on half-truth, based on just casual talk, based on friendly chatting. That is called as informal communication. For example, when you talk to your friend about some cricket match, that is informal communication. Next type of communication we have vertical communication. Now, please understand, before trying to know what is vertical communication, we will try to know these two subcategories: upward communication and downward communication. Upward communication means communication which flows from lower level to higher level. Communication which flows from lower level to higher level, that is upward communication. And downward communication which flows from upward level to downward level, from upper level to lower level, that is called as downward communication. For example, try to understand. Principal is talking to supervisor, supervisor is talking to teacher, teacher is talking to peon. This is called downward communication. Why? Communication is flowing from upward level, upper level. Principal is upper level and peon is lower level. From upper level to lower level means it is downward communication. And when peon is talking to teacher, teacher is talking to principal, principal is talking to director, then it is upward communication. Why? Because communication is flowing from lower level to higher level. So when communication flows from lower level to higher level, that is upward communication, and when communication flows from higher level to lower level, that is downward communication. And both of these are collectively called as vertical communication. I think you understood this much. Now the next category of communication. See, this is the diagram. The chairman, for example, chairman is talking to managing director, then he is talking to divisional manager, then departmental head, then supervisors and officers, then workers and clerks. When communication is flowing from upper level to lower level, then it is downward communication. And when communication is flowing from lower level to higher level, then it is upward communication. And both of them are called as vertical communication. The next point is horizontal communication or peer communication. Now, see, its name itself is giving us the meaning. Peer. What is peer? Who is peer? The person who is of your age, the person who belongs to your age or to your status. Communication between the people of same level, communication between the people of same rank, that is called as horizontal communication. For example, director of one studio is talking to the director of second studio. This communication is called as horizontal communication because this person is also a director and that person is also a director. In the same way, one head of department is talking to another head of department, or when one clerk is talking to another clerk, that is horizontal communication. Communication between the people of same level, same rank, same status. Now the next type of communication is diagonal communication. Now see, just see the diagram. You will understand everything. It does not follow any direction, neither horizontal, same level, nor upward, nor downward. No level. It goes anywhere. For example, principal talks to peon, peon talks to supervisor, supervisor talks to student, student is talking to clerk. So it does not follow any direction. That is called as diagonal communication. Now next type of communication, visual communication. Visual communication means communication based on diagrams, charts, colors, photographs or pictures. That is called as visual communication. When we see a boy having his finger on his lips, it means keep silence. So that is visual communication. Message of silence is given to us with the help of a picture. So in the same way, charts, graphs, colors, pictures help in this type of communication. That is visual communication based on visuals, based on charts, graphs, colors, pictures. Sometimes visual communication is more powerful because it conveys the message through pictures and those messages touch our heart. Now, next point is sign language communication. Sign language communication is a subtype of visual communication. Some people are deaf and dumb. They cannot listen or they cannot speak. So with the help of hands, with the help of eye movements, with the help of finger movements, hand shapes, message is conveyed to such deaf and dumb people with the help of signs. That is why it is called as sign language communication, in which facial expressions also play a vital role. Now, next category of communication is over communication. See its name. Communication means what? To convey the message. But when so many messages are communicated at the same time, then confusion takes place. This is called over communication. For example, so you are writing so many unnecessary sentences. When you are speaking, sometimes you use unnecessary words to speak a single sentence. So those unnecessary words and sentences are included in over communication when messages are too many and it is very difficult for receiver to understand. That is over communication. And the opposite of over communication is, next slide, under communication. Some people speak incomplete messages. For example, my father received a message. When? By whom? At least your sentence should be complete. My father received a message last night sent by his boss. So that is complete. Some people leave sentences incomplete. Whatever you want to understand, understand. It is their theory. So that is under communication. Under communication is called as poor communication because the words, the sentences which are required to give a complete message, we do not use those required words and sentences, and we leave the sentences, we leave the messages incomplete. That is called as under communication, and this type of communication creates misunderstanding in people. And our last category, last type of communication is anonymous communication. Anonymous communication means we don't know who is the sender. A simple example of anonymous communication is suggestion box or complaint box. People drop their suggestions or complaints into that box. When we open that message, we do not know who is the sender. In the same way, you must have studied few poems in your childhood and you do not know the poet. Some articles you must have read, but you don't know who is the author. So that message is called as anonymous communication. Means we do not know who is the sender. So this anonymous communication was our last type of communication. Dear viewers, we have completed 12 types of communication. In this episode, we have discussed what is communication, what are the objectives of communication, what are the types of communication. Inshallah Kareem, very soon we will meet in next episode and we will try to know the barriers to communication. Till then, keep watching FGN channel. Jazakallahu khaira. Sallu ala al-Habib. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam.
Speak a good word or remain silent. Speak a good word or remain silent. Speak a good word or remain silent.